Welcome to Night City, where we are looking today at the happy and uplifting world that could have been in Cyberpunk 2020. Last time we sorted through the dry and frankly not that exciting world of international oil production. This week I'm reversing the trend by looking at one of the best supplements Cyberpunk has to offer, the Wildside Sourcebook, which is all about fixers and has heavy focus on street-level play. It's chock full of goodness and is held up as one of the best character splat books written. I'm Mr. Welch, and let's start street dealing. Wildside was written in 1993 by Benjamin Wright and Mike Rotter, with Lionel Tolero getting the cover art credit. It's 96 pages long, which was about average for Art Halsorian. The book has several sections, but is mostly all about expanding the role of one of the behind-the-scenes characters, the Fixer. Fixers were normally just a skill monkey with a reputation of being a thief. Something this book tries to hammer home multiple times is not the case. The Fixer is a deal broker. They know everybody and who buys what. They tend to serve as the party's face to the underworld, and if you have a problem, the Fixer knows who can fix it, and they already has them owing favors. The book goes into great detail on exactly how Fixers work, what happens when you roll the dice to find the goods the party needs. Doesn't matter what they're looking for. Weapons, drugs, information, gear, the Fixer has the same process in acquiring it. The game provides mechanics on contacts, with the number of contacts the Fixer uses determined by the level of the game. The higher your power level, the bigger your information network. It's a lot more paperwork, but it does add to the flavor of the game. Just be sure to work with your game master when dealing with contacts, because you're not going to amuse him if you need your contact network fleshed out in the middle of a game. Get those NPCs done before you start the game so the GM isn't put on the spot when you need to contact Big Joe Horvick to score your black market pickled lukefish deal, and you've never mentioned before at all Big Joe. The game does devote half a page explaining the difference between Street Deal and Streetwise's skills, something that caused a lot of confusion in the past. The basic difference boils down to actual contacts versus general underworld knowledge. Street Deal overshadows Streetwise in all ways. A solo will know where to go to score some smash. A Fixer will know who's got the lowest prices, the name of the bouncer that lets you into the building, and the dealer's favorite brand of cigars that you're going to need to seal the deal. Streetwise gets you a TV that fell off the back of a truck. Street Deal gets you a warehouse of them. It's just a matter of scale. Streetwise might get you a rumor about what's in a building, where a Fixer will get the schematics from his contact at the local building inspector. For anything more than just basic information, you're going to need a Fixer. One of the popular parts of this book was the breakdown among all the different Fixers. A regular street Fixer might be able to get you anything you need given enough time, but a specialist can find exactly what you're looking for instantly, or even better, have it in stock. Some of the Fixers are tied to specific locations, and while not suitable for some campaigns, it does give the party an option to start with a home base. Not all Fixer variants are created equal. That means you're going to have a harder time finding someone to play a shoemaker, peddling fake IDs, than an info bro selling all sorts of sorted information. The only difference between the subclasses is the starting skills, with all of them having Street Deal as their special ability, of course. The Fixers tied down to locations are not suggested for player characters, as well as the more morally questionable versions like the Pusher or the Pimp. It's your game, of course. If you're running a low-level street campaign, there's no reason why you can't have the Fixer run the local pawn shop or nightclub, so your party can have their base of operations. Besides, if the netrunner can sit on a couch and run the net while the party's in the middle of a black ops, there's nothing stopping the party from having the Fixer at home on the phone and the computer networking all over the place in real time as your party needs information on their current mission. That method actually works fantastic and keeps the social character out of danger in missions that don't make any sense for him to be there in the first place. You just need a phone and a computer, and you can even sell the stolen data as soon as you get it. There's a lot of variant Fixers to fit into any campaign. A Factor, with his money laundering ways, slides into a corporate campaign without any modification. He's just going to be the shady guy down in accounting. Negotiators are a staple of cop campaigns. Rocker boys have to have their agents. Nomads need their traders, and everyone can take advantage of black marketeers or info bros. Wildside expands what was considered a secondary role into something that's almost mandatory in most campaigns. The book introduces numerous new roles as well, more than any other book by a large margin. After you get through the alternate Fixers, you get to meet the Prowler, who is a thief all the way. The Street Punk makes a reappearance from Solo of Fortune. Conmen, scavengers, dancers, and prostitutes show up for the first time. They aren't for every campaign, but in the right ones they can add a lot to your game. The Prowler is going to show up a lot more often than a Street Punk, though. And be careful with the prostitute. There's a few players that will take that class in ways the party is not going to like. I'm just speaking from experience here. The guts of the book, once you get past the new options for the players, is appropriately enough new options for the game master. Here's where you get expanded rules for the Fixers network, from maintenance costs to the quality of the crew to the extent of your reach. If you want to turn the game into a crime simulator, this is where you find the rules. It's not for everybody, mind you. It is a ton of paperwork to keep track of, but it is an option. Then you get a section on where fixers fit in with the other roles, which, I'll be honest, the alternate fixer roles do wonderfully, and that is mentioned several times in that section. The next section is a detailed breakdown on various types of cyberpunk-specific crimes, like how to launder money in the 2020 universe, or create new fake IDs, or how to deal with stolen goods. There's a lot to read in this chapter, and it's all very detailed in dealing with things that fixers will need to know. They don't need all the information. Fixers tend to specialize in one area, so one player is going to memorize the rules on money laundering, but skip over the pages on fake ID creation. The section's pretty much plug and play. Use the parts that are relevant to you, skip over the parts that aren't. The last real chapter is about low-level street crime, and this, with the appendix, has a lot of padding and reprinted materials, including crimes and punishments from Protect and Serve, parts of Night City and Home of the Brave, with the religion and politics getting revisited. There's a large sample of what you're going to find walking down a busy street in Night City with various stores and vendors selling just about anything imaginable. It's good for flavor and random encounters, but it does feel like it's just there to fill out the page count. If you want this book, and you should, it's over at the Artel website for a list price. It's a great book. It gives you everything you need to play a fixer and breathes life into a role that was usually relegated to NPCs or only called on to make social roles. Now they play vital parts and can customize their specialty to fit the campaign. It's a must-buy for any campaign. I do need to step up the videos on this channel if I'm ever going to cover everything by the time 2077 rolls around. So next up is Live and Direct, the media source book, as I'm diving into the Splat books, it seems. Sorry, Medtechs. Maybe next edition you'll get your Splat book.